Okay, let's take a look today at a rather unorthodox geometry question. Now, with geometry on the SAT and ACT, it all boils down to circles and triangles. 9 times out of 10, a geometry problem on the SAT or ACT is about triangles or circles. So when we look at this figure, let's read the problem. It says x is 20. Let's fill that in. X is 20. Y is 30. Here's y, so that's 30. And here's another x down here, so we'll make that 20. They want to know what is the value of z right here. And it looks like a pretty weird question to ask because we don't really know anything about arrow-shaped shapes, really. But we do know that this looks a lot like a triangle. And so let's just mess with it a little bit here. Let's make this a full triangle. Now, I always tell students that you should just mess with a geometry problem for at least a minute or two before you give up on it. At least maybe a minute before you give up on any geometry problem. So let's mess with it. Here's a triangle, and as most of us know, a triangle has 180 degrees, right? Well, if this angle right here is 30, then we know that we have to cover 180 degrees in this angle. Let's call this big angle A. That's from here to here. And the same thing with this angle over here. Here to here we'll call angle B. We know that A plus B plus 30 has to equal 180, otherwise known as A plus B must equal, running out of room here, must equal 150. Okay, cool. Now, we also know that X here and here equal 20 each. So let's call these ones down here maybe C and D. This little angle here and this little angle here are C and D. Now, if A plus B, the big angles, equal 150, if we subtract the 20 degrees from X here and the 20 degrees here, we have C plus D, and the remaining amount, 150 minus 40, is going to be 110 degrees. All right, great. We also see a smaller triangle here with angles C, Z, and D. We don't care what the individual angles are for C and D necessarily, although it certainly looks like this isn't a isosceles triangle here. But it really doesn't matter. C plus D equals 110, and we know C plus D plus Z must equal 180 because it's another triangle. So if these two add up to 110 and then you add a third one and you get 180, then the difference is Z. Z equals 70 degrees. Okay, so at first this question looked pretty weird. This arrowhead shape didn't look like something we were really used to. But as you can see, by working through a geometry problem and keeping in mind the basic things you know about triangles or circles in other cases, you can get the answer to a question without really too much advanced math. This was all pretty basic. It just came down to knowing that a triangle has 180 degrees and then starting to mess with it a little bit. So mess with stuff, mess with it, and get a great score and make us proud. And yeah, check us out on higherlearningtestprep.com or on Facebook or Twitter. We're all over that stuff. See you later.